Next up, at UFC 310, we have the co-main event of the evening. This is a new co-main event. Both of these fighters were scheduled to fight around this time. Shavkat Rakhmonov was supposed to fight Belal Muhammad for the belt on this card. It was supposed to be the main event. Belal Muhammad got like a foot infection. Something horrible happened. He pulled out. They kept Shavkat on the card, but he needed an opponent. So they moved Ian Garry from the main event of Tampa, and they brought him in here. So Ian Garry is supposed to fight next week. He's fighting this week instead. I don't think the 7-day difference is going to make any meaningful difference in what's going on here. So I'm going to break this down as if they both had full camps and they were expecting to fight each other. We've got Shavkat Rakhmonov, 18-0, undefeated in his career. 18 wins with 18 stoppages, taking on Ian Machado Garry. 15-0 in his career with 8 stoppages. Shavkat Rakhmonov is a guy that we just don't know how good he is yet. He is either an all-time great, and these are truly 18 unbelievable finishes, and he'll go down in history as the only guy who finished everybody and had every title and did all the things. Or he's been running through people, and as soon as the fight gets a little tough and goes a little longer than expected, he's going to have no backup plan. But as of right now, he is that guy. We've seen him go kind of long, right? He went into the third round with Jeff Neal, still got the finish. We've seen him knock people out. We've seen him submit people. We've seen him jump guillotines and get those. His takedowns are not great, however. He needed 5 attempts to take down Wonder Boy in his last fight. He's taking on Ian Machado Garry. A very good technical striker. He's got very good hand speed, great length, good footwork, knows how to use all of it really well. He can be hittable because he keeps his chin straight up in the air, and we've seen him almost knocked out, but he was able to survive, regroup, come back, and get it done. He went to the Shooter Box fight camp, 1 or 2 fights ago, and we're seeing the grappling improvements. In fact, in my opinion, the only reason he won his last fight is because he offensively grappled, because the striking seemed to be going MVP's direction. But Ian Machado Garry is a very good striker, a high fight IQ guy who takes his career unbelievably seriously. And that last piece is what has me a little concerned here. I'm going to pick Shavkat to win this fight. But the fact that Ian, and I want an honest answer out of you, not some yelling, screaming, ginger bullshit. The fact that Ian Garry took this fight, a guy with a carefully curated career, who takes it all very seriously, like every single thing he does is on purpose, is well thought out. Is there not some concern that like he 100% thinks he can win this fight? Is like positive, like he seems like a type of guy who would not accept a fight that he didn't think he could win.
I think most fighters think they're going to win the fight, Angelo.
I guess the point I'm making is, hasn't he turned down fights in the past?
I don't know.
Like, I'm pretty sure he didn't fight Colby Covington, like when he was still doing well. And Ian Garry seems like the exact type of guy that would say no to a fight that he thought he would lose. And I get what you're saying. Everybody thinks they can win everything, but I don't think he's that guy. Either way, that gives me a little bit of caution, but I am going to pick Shavkat because Shavkat can grapple, can wrestle, and does have power in his hands. So if he can close the distance and be crazy and turn this into a mess, as he has done many times before, he can and should win this fight. I do think these odds are wide, though. It's not crazy that Ian Garry dances around and is just a faster, cleaner, better striker overall and avoids any grappling chaos. And he's been training enough grappling. He's not like clueless, useless on the ground. He's a good grappler. I'm going to pick Shavkat. I'm not nearly as confident as these almost 4-1 odds. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, I've been, if you guys know me, you guys know, if you were just to listen to all my breakdowns of both of these fighters, you would just assume that Ian Garry is going to be the lock of the week. I mean, I have been very, very high on Ian Garry. When people want to shit on him for the personal stuff and all this stuff, it's like, I don't give a fuck. As a fighter, that guy is fucking good. And I've said that Ian Garry is fucking really, really good, even underrated from what he even is perceived right now, which is a title contender. I think he's still, as a striker, that underrated. At least I thought he was, as a striker, kind of that underrated. And then, I watched the MVP fight, and it's like, he really kind of had to use plan B, right? Because he thought he was going to go in there, and I thought he was going to go in there and be the faster guy. And I know MVP's got the length and all this type of stuff, and he is a good striker. But I thought that Ian was going to be able to show off his hands in that and kind of get in and out with the boxing and the striking and the kicks.
Yeah, touched up.
And he had to go to plan B, and he had that plan B. And the reason I say that is because for Ian Garry in this fight, I don't think he has the type of power in his hands to keep Shavkat off of him. Right, if he had a little bit more pop in his hands to kind of hurt Shavkat, to keep that fucking pressure off him, because Ian Garry is going to be, Shavkat's going to be walking forward either to get those clinch positions or to get to the wrestling. If he had just had something he could throw out there to keep Shavkat away a little bit, that would be kind of a plan A situation, but I don't think he has that. And if Shavkat gets in this guy's face and is starting to get him to the ground, or he hurts him against the fence, there is no plan B. There is no plan B against Shavkat. You can't just start slugging with the guy because he's got a concrete head and you're going to get knocked out. You definitely can't go to the wrestling because he's just going to out-grapple you in that type of situation. So if you're Ian Garry, in my opinion, you can win this fight. He has the striking ability, but you have to be on your P's and Q's for 25 fucking minutes, dancing around the outskirts and just kind of touching and moving and touching and moving. And I just think Shavkat eventually is going to get his hands on this guy. And when he gets his hands on this guy, it becomes a bullying issue, it becomes a physicality issue, and it becomes kind of just that inside dirty clinch game. And I think as good as Ian Garry has tried to improve in that situations, going to shoot a box. Now he spent his whole camp in Thailand. I think he knows those clinch positions are going to be coming, and he wants to be strong there. I just don't think it's going to be enough, and Shavkat's going to have his way kind of in those type positions. So I don't think Ian Garry's got enough pop to keep Shavkat off him. And if you can't keep this guy off you and he gets his hands on you, he doesn't have the best takedowns in the world. And, I think Bilal kind of fucking smokes this guy, which isn't going to be a popular pick.
I thought Bilal was going to beat him too. I was going to pick Bilal against Shavkat.
But I just think it's a bad matchup for Ian Garry. And I've been fully on board the Shavkat sucks train. I just think it's a matchup thing.
So do you think you're not worried? Do you think he finishes Ian? And he's 19-0, 19 finishes?
No, I've said the whole time, and I actually kind of got fucking pissed off because I've been saying it, thinking that it was going to be plus 500, plus 600, because Shavkat is a finished guy, right? And I know that
I was hoping it was a 1.5 round line, honestly.
But the books gave it much more respect, I thought to. I think it's only plus 250, but I've been saying Shavkat by points the entire time. I think Ian Garry does enough. He's a smart guy. He's not going to take chances, get it finished, right? And if it's a situation where he's just dancing around and he loses a decision, he can be like, oh, it's short. I stepped up, short notice. I'll get him next time, this type of stuff. But if he gets finished, it's going to be a little bit harder to bounce back. He's a smart guy. I think he stays safe, and I think Shavkat can win by points.
Yeah, I was really hoping for a 1.5 round line. A lot of people, it just seemed to be that was going to be the round line, and then obviously that's not how that played out. It's a 2.5. It's like
all the
it is a 5-round fight, by the way.
And all the props seem to show, like the money line obviously is more of a public thing, but the props seem to show a lot of respect for Ian Garry in this fight.
Yeah, the over, and I think that's because he won't
even like the KO and the points. I really thought that Shavkat by points would be like plus 500. I was going to load the boat, and I was like 250. I was like, Jesus, they have some respect for Ian Garry.
Shavkat's knocked a bunch of people out, but I don't think he knocks out Ian Garry. I think Ian Garry's striking range is too good, so Shavkat closes the distance, grapples, and makes something happen there. But I'm looking. This is a phenomenal fight. Like, this is a very, very good fight. I'm looking forward to it. Is it as good as Shavkat versus Bilal? Maybe not, but it's a very good fight. Like, I'm more excited for this than the main event for sure.
This is more of an intriguing fight than the Bilal fight. Because 100%. You don't really know in this fight what, like the Bilal fight, you knew like Bilal is probably either going to get the takedowns and the control or he's not. So you kind of knew how that, but this one, you really don't know what's going to happen.
Literally no clue. Shavkat's a finisher. Never seen him go to a decision, let alone 5 full rounds.
And we've seen Shavkat get out-wrestled. I think that's one of the reasons why we're high on Bilal is because Shavkat can get out-wrestled. So what if Ian Garry all of a sudden looks like fucking Khabib in there against Shavkat? It'd be crazy, but...
He did it against MVP, but yeah, I mean, I doubt it. Listen, you could have argued Ian Garry still lost that MVP fight. Or he was one stupid decision away, or MVP was one stupid decision away from making it happen. So either way, this is a great fight. I am looking forward to it. If you do want to check out all the picks, the bets, the tools, and everything else, WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member. It's only freaking $10 for an entire month. We have 18 units on the board between the next 2 cards alone. $9,200 in DraftKings Fantasy. Listen, if you are squarely on the Shavkat side and you do not think this goes 5 full rounds, then that $9,200 is money well spent.